Good morning. Good morning to you wherever you may be. It is so good to share with you, to be with you even from a distance. We worship even when apart. Today is the first Sunday of a new year. My goodness. So welcome 2021. It is liturgically for us as people of faith, we are in that in between time. Christmastide season with Epiphany just a few days away. It is a bridge time between the old and the new, between birth and life. And so let us focus our thoughts, let us center our souls as we prepare to hear a word from God. Let us begin with a word of prayer. God of all grace, bless us this day wherever we may be. Cause us to breathe in deeply the goodness of your love, to have it fill our lungs and provide comfort and energy and renewal. And may your word do the same and even more this day and always. Amen. So right at the darkest season of the year, while the tilting of this spinning planet we call home moves us further and further from the light and the warmth of the sun during these days of winter, we Christians do something so totally different, don't we? When you stop to think about it, our focus is not there. We move toward the light and the warmth of new birth, of new things. We celebrate newness in a baby born. Yes, absolutely. But also, quite practically, in the newness of a new calendar liturgical year. Advent marks that beginning. We started that together a little over a month ago. And Christmas time, that season of the church year we are just now beginning, helps us turn the page. It's more than remembering to write down 2021 instead of 2020. I always have trouble with that, the first few weeks of a new year. It's more than saying goodbye to a year that's passed and hello to a new one. It's about incorporating our theology into our daily living. Because we celebrate light and hope, peace and joy and love, all while darkness surrounds us with shorter days and longer nights, all while the harsh realities of the world seem to be closer, nearer than ever before. We Christians are walking a different path because we're called to be theologians. We are called to be witnesses. We are the ones who, generations after the birth of that baby in a manger long ago, we are the ones who are being asked by the heavenly host to shout out that there are glad tidings to sing, that there is good news of great joy to declare. God's great incarnational gift of a baby born to save the world is not over just because the calendar page has been turned. Christmas is not an echo fading into the night, meant to be packed away and put back in our closets. Because that light of a star, that light of all those candles are burning brightly in our lives, not just in 2020, not just in 2021, but for all eternity. That is the Christmas miracle. And it's not over. It's not meant to be put away, but to be alive in our hearts. And so, liturgically, theologically, one of the interesting things that happens on this, the second Sunday after Christmas, the Sunday right before Epiphany, is that we remember that the gospel writers have those wise men, those astrologers, those three kings, arriving to share their humble hearts and beautiful gifts now. That's the way they write the story, after the birth of Christ. Over time, it's all been compressed into one big happy manger scene on Christmas Eve night, and I get that. I'm okay with that. It's kind of a let's get everybody together into the family photo for one last moment before we all have to head home again kind of thing. But their holy visit during the 12 days of Christmas is the bridge we are offered between the moment of his birth and then his meeting up with John and baptism. These Christmastide and Epiphany seasons allow us that great good gift to breathe it all in, to take full measure of the glory of God, of that bright burning star, of the value of the gift received. No candles in our closets, but lights burning brightly with good news of great joy. And so the story of these three kings, these wise men who followed a star and put their lives at risk, really are, when you stop to think about it, the first radicals of the New Testament story. Because they act in open defiance of the orders of King Herod. And for that reason alone, they are worthy of our praise and remembrance, because these three kings, these wise men, these astrologers from the east named Caspar, Melchior, and Balthazar, choose to stand in the squalor of a barnyard with peasants and animals and simple country folk, all in adoration of a king. And their gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh not only represent their estimation of the priceless nature of God's good gift to all of humankind, but they also, they also foreshadow his future life, his defiance of all things, all standards set by wealth and how that separates the children of God, his suffering that was yet to come, and his deliverance to life eternal. These gifts, given by those who are so clearly different from everybody else in the story, they help us to remember that once again God's vision of what the future looks like, especially as we turn the calendar page, that vision is always bigger than what we might have first imagined. They help us remember that this baby born wasn't just a gift for Bethlehem. It wasn't sent in order to only save those in Galilee. It wasn't a candle so small. These are tidings of great joy for all the world to hear. Simply put, it's meant to blow our minds, to rip apart our preconceptions, to render any parochial thinking and instill within us a broader, a much, much bigger understanding of how God chooses to interact with the world on a global scale, with a light so bright, with a light so big, that it illumines not just the sky in our backyard, but burns for all the world to see, for all eternity. Now that's a story worthy of gifts for us to bring, worthy of praise, worthy of adoration, worthy of us to take the time to be open to how it might change us. And that's why this story from Matthew is paired with the story from Isaiah. Because he knew that there was such a light. He knew of how that light illumines and casts a vision, a path, a direction, not only for us to see places where we once thought there only to be darkness, but of how that light shines out so brightly that it demands a response. Arise and shine, he sings. Raise your eyes and see the glory of God, he writes. It's good news, isn't it? It's all about tidings of great joy. It's a Christmas gift like no other. And yet, the calendar page turns. It is a new year. And soon, if not already, the remnants of how we celebrated that season just a few days ago will be packed up and put back in the closet. And like the wise men, we turn toward home. We find a way back to the living of our days. The point, of course, always, is what do we take with us? What gift do we carry into this new year? What light do we bear? Just as the wise men needed to now face a new and different path home because of what the light brought them, we are asked to walk a path that will be, by simple definition, different this year. Or at least it should be, right? Because the light is shining on a path pointing us along the way for us to follow. And the one who is the light, that baby born in a manger, who grew to be a prophet and a priest, a leader and a teacher, a servant who suffers, this very light is always shining on a path that is different than the one we normally walk. His path leads along the road of unflinching service and humility. His light shines on the road of mercy in the face of injustice. And across all the highways and byways named servanthood. And as we turn the calendar page to a new year, 2021, it is impossible not to want to think of putting every last thing that was 2020 to bed, to pack it all away, to put it in a dark closet, never to be opened again, forgotten, good riddance. But I'm wondering, in a sense, doing that would deny that the light has come, shining into dark corners. Doing that would not be to carry with us a deep and abiding sense of what direction we are now following. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the Christmas gift we've been given, to carry light, to be candle bearers, to illumine a bit of hope, a ray of peace and understanding, a light of love. Exactly, right? Exactly what the world now needs most. And so we arise and we shine, for the light has come. As we turn the page on a new year, may we do so as that baby boy's light bearer. May we take every opportunity to shine, to look up, and to see. For there is a heavenly light, casting a brilliance upon our path, pointing us in a new direction, and beckoning us to follow. It points our way. It offers a road to travel, and it only asks one thing: that we join with the whole of creation and walk with love as our first impulse, with patience and understanding as our guiding star, with mercy and peace being the means by which and through which we interact with everyone. And so we arise, we shine, for the light is always before us. Amen.